It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Welcome to another episode of Wednesday Toast, a podcast about comic book stuff where we talk about all kinds of comic book related stuff. My name is Lex and I'm here with my co-host, as usual, Simon. What's up, man?
Hey, brother. I feel like I always sound so stupid.
I was not expecting that.
Every time I listen to myself, I'm like, hey, buddy.
That's what I was expecting. I wasn't looking at you, so it caught me off guard.
Yeah, so I'm just in the spirit of
WrestleMania,
brother. Yeah. I will never.
Man.
One of my favorite. I mean, it is offensive, but when they talk about Hulk Hogan and Always Sunny, they say he's got the hair of a Chinaman and the skin of a hot dog. It's so offensive, but God, it makes me laugh every time I think about it.
Oh my God. That is funny. I don't think I've seen that one. Oh man.
I think he says his hair is so silken. Oh shit.
That's so good. That makes me want to go back and watch that show. That one is, I have a rotation of shows. It's like The Office, and then I slide in Parks and Rec, and then I go through New Girl, and then I just rotate. And not that I'm sitting there like actively watching it. I'm reading or drawing, and it's just like in the background, and I laugh at something that I'd never noticed before. Although Peacock did do these super fan episodes, and we talked about it before, of The Office, and so it feels like I'm watching it for the first time over again because the episodes are all like 45 minutes long with just jokes that aren't even funny, but they are funny just because you can tell that the characters are ad-libbing. It's so great.
Yeah,
I wish they would do that with every show. But Always Sunny isn't one of those shows that I feel like I can put in that rotation because it's so chaotic, man. Always. It always has this like slow build into absolute chaos.
Yeah.
And it's not the kind of background show that I can have without me being completely, zoned in and watching it.
Yeah, I get that. It is a lot. And that's kind of the point. A lot of those shows I'll only watch a few seasons before I just either start over or go to a different show.
Yeah.
I haven't watched Parks and Rec in a long time, and I thought about it recently, and I don't know if I can go back to that part of my life again. It just feels like a different time. I don't know.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. My wife and I hadn't watched it in years. I mean, maybe since we moved here. And we were just talking one day, and I don't know, just laying around doing crosswords or something, some old people thing. And we just put on something to watch in the background and busting out laughing about some of these ridiculous episodes of Parks and Rec. Just like The Office, maybe not the first season, even though they are funny, but they really catch their stride after Ben comes.
Yeah. I was watching something about that, about like they almost canceled it. There was only 7 episodes in the first season, and then the second season didn't do great, and so they were like, "Oh shit," and then they brought them on, and they're really good additions to it. Yeah, I don't know.
So, comic book related podcast. There are no comic books about The Office or New Girl or Parks and Rec. Maybe we'll make one. No one would read
I would read a New Girl comic book because all those shows are just so fictional. Brooklyn Nine-Nine, that's another one I need to watch. I never finished it.
Oh, I was just going to say, I never finished it either. I want to.
I didn't want it to end, I don't think. So a lot of times I'll skip out on finales.
Hey, man. You and I are a weird pair.
Like a weird pair. We are bulls.
Thinking about finales or shows that have been canceled, this week's episode, we're going to talk about reviving forgotten properties. And of course, since we are a comic book podcast, they're going to be comic book related. Now, they may not be comic books specifically, but they will be comic book related in some fashion or nerd related. Whatever. We're geeks. It'll be geek related.
I said damn very quietly because that was a smooth ass transition into what we were talking about. That was good. We did not plan that. That was a good segue.
I feel like I could have talked about each one of those shows, The Office, Parks and Rec, New Girl, in like 30-minute increments. And I didn't want to go down that rabbit hole. So I tried to cut myself off.
No, it was just good. Speaking of things that end, I mean, that was perfect. Wow. Bravo, sir.
Thanks. So this was Simon's idea, and I loved it because I have a ton of these. I have a ton of shows that, since I'm pretty sure if I go back into my childhood brain, I can imagine me crumpling up a newspaper because a show got canceled as a little kid, screaming, stomping around like an old man. Because my favorite cartoon, Gargoyles, was canceled. That's not my pick though. So as we usually do, we're gonna stick to the format of that we've been having with these sort of topics, where one of us, I'll go first, Simon goes, and then we'll rotate. We'll talk about some honorable mentions in sort of a speed round, and then we'll talk about some fan submissions, because we took it to the web with some listeners of the show, and we got some interesting responses. How's that sound to you, Simon?
That sounds good. I'm going to change one right now. I just came up with a better one. I remember
I'm going to change mine too.
When you said that I came up with this, I was like, I did. And then I remembered why I came up with it. So I went back in the script and changed my quick pick to the real thing.
And it's such a good one. And I think that's going to be a better talking topic than mine. I'll go first. My pick is a comic book that I loved so much when I was younger. And hindsight now, there is no way in hell that it was ever going to be this ongoing thing, right? And I don't know if you remember this, but there was a short run in the late 90s, probably late 90s, where Spider-Man was going through an identity crisis. I think he was framed for murder, or Spider-Man was framed for murder, so he didn't want to go out as Spider-Man anymore because he was being hunted. So he came up with 4 different personas: Prodigy, Ricochet, Dusk, and the Hornet. All great characters. I thought they just, I love, in our last episode, we talked about costume changes and revamps. This was Peter Parker in using his brain in different ways, because they weren't all spider hero. None of them were spider heroes. I think Ricochet was the closest one, just because he could bounce around. But they were, hence the name.
Yeah, that's good.
They weren't like just different variations of spiders, which I thought was cool, because he had to really use his brain, which is an attribute that doesn't get a lot of love when it comes to Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So I loved it. In typical comic book fashion, his name gets cleared. He puts all those suits in his closet in his 1-bedroom studio apartment. Shortly after that, a group of teens have the suits. I don't remember exactly how these characters get all 4 suits, but they become a team called the Slingers. Doesn't make sense for them to be called that. Spider-Man's nickname, one of his nicknames is the Web Slinger. So I guess to be related to Spider-Man in some way, none of these characters slung any webs.
Yeah, they were just shooting ropes.
Slung anything.
If they're teenagers, they're probably shooting ropes at least.
Oh, God. But do you remember this era that I'm talking about? The Slingers?
I do know what you're talking about. I don't. So I bought the visual dictionary of Spider-Man and way back when, and I remember seeing them in there, but I don't necessarily remember like seeing them in the comics or anything. But I do know what they look like. Ricochet has like a leather half jacket, right?
Yeah. White leotard. I don't know what they call their spandex suits underneath. But they had Prodigy. Prodigy was like the Superman-esque type character. Cape, muscles, super strength, he could fly. Hornet was the tech guy. It was cool because, I guess, okay, that's a weird way to say it, but the character was paraplegic. But with the suit, he could, walk, fly, be a superhero. So that was cool.
That's the backstory that Peter Parker came up with, or those are the teens?
No, the teen that took it. Dusk was a girl. I can't really remember her storyline. I should have read this. I should have reread Slingers before I decided to revamp them. So I want them to bring it back, and they did. Right? They teased it last year. They had this event where they did this like side comic called Beyond. So there would be Spider-Man regular issues, and then it would be like Spider-Man issue 111.1, and it would be like a side issue, which is stupid, but whatever. And there was a Slingers special. So they brought him back. New team. It was great to see him, right? But then nothing since then. So what the hell, Marvel? Why would you do me like that? And what really caught my eye and interest about the new Slingers is that ever since Into the Spider-Verse, they've been trying to figure out what to do. So Prowler, they had to make Prowler Uncle Aaron in the main 616.
Yeah.
Even though
it's
Hobie Brown, Hobie Brown is Prowler. So now they have Hobie Brown still alive. We can't kill him off because black actors, right? You can't kill Hobie. He's cool too. He's Spider-Punk. We gotta do something with him. So he becomes Hornet because he's a genius. And I thought that was cool. You're doing something cool with this character. You give him his own team. Bring back the Slingers. And to my knowledge, they haven't done anything since. So very niche and selfish pick to revamp a property, but just do it, man.
Yeah, they would be cool to see. I remember seeing Hornet, speaking of like it being Peter Parker, I remember seeing Hornet in particular was like threw me off a little bit. And I feel like, what was the other one? The Superman archetype.
Prodigy.
I felt like those two. I was like, damn, how does he like? Did he build a whole suit just so he could be the Hornet? Like, how did he get around as the Prodigy if he's supposed to be? Was he flying as Peter as well?
Yeah.
So how'd that work? He just jumped.
He had like an anti-gravity belt.
Why wouldn't you just use that all the time? Is it better?
Because he's Spider-Man, not the flying spider.
I mean, so he could just have it just in case he runs out of webs like he always does. Conveniently. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I loved the idea. It's kind of like it reminded me a lot of the Iron Spiders or whatever, how they'll take his old costumes and make them new characters or whatever. So I thought that was kind of a neat way to do that.
If you are listening and you're interested in the Slingers, you don't have any idea who these new 4 members were. This was pre-Hobie taking over in the new team. I'm going to give you a quick rundown because I finally pulled it up. So, Dusk, Cassie St. Commons. She was a goth daughter of a rich socialite couple from Connecticut. She died in Slingers 0, which was like a wizard special. And then she mysteriously returned from the dead with supernatural abilities. She could teleport. Hornet was Eddie McDowell. He was born with cerebral palsy. The suit gave him the ability to fly and walk and be a superhero. Prodigy, leader of the group. He was a wrestler at Empire State University. He can fly. He can appear to fly. Maybe that's what it was with Spider-Man 2. He can leap incredible distances, appearing to fly.
Like Superman.
So maybe that's what Spider-Man did. Yeah, that's even cooler, in my opinion. And Ricochet was a mutant, which is cool because you're adding the mutants into the gang. He had superhuman agility, and he could also leap great distances. And he had mutant reflexes.
Nice.
So cool. And he had a danger sense, not a Spidey sense. He had a danger. He was Spider-Man, mutant Spider-Man.
Yeah. I have a danger sense too. When I say something real stupid, and I can tell that I'm in danger.
I have a danger sense too. It's called crippling anxiety. That's what it's on. And anytime I stress out, it's just like the Spider-Man animated series where I get that random colors around my head.
That's a perfect. I love that. That we both have the superpower of being able to see every possible future that could happen with something. It's like, I'm not anxious. I can just see every future. That's funny.
Yeah, I'm not going to get too personal on the show about my life, but there's a situation where I expect my wife to be like very stressed out and it's kind of on edge, and she's not. She's handling it, and it's handling it so well that it's making me uncomfortable and it's making me have anxiety. So I'm like doubling up on it. So I feel like Spider-Man that's about to get beat up by the Sinister Six just because my wife is a mature adult. And I'm like, how are you doing?
So go ahead.
Yeah, I have a superpower.
Yeah.
It's called anxiety.
I've had the same thing. I'm dealing with my situation in much the same way that like I've been getting questioned by my dad, like, are you sure you're like,
what's wrong with you?
I'm like, I just know. I mean, it's like, whatever. It's making other people like they think that I'm like holding it all in. It's like, no, I'm dealing with it.
Yeah, and it's stressing me out. I want her to know how much pain she's putting me through.
I'm sure
I need to watch myself, because the other day I came home and she was reading on the couch and the podcast was up on the screen on Spotify. She was like, oh yeah, it just like played in a rotation. And she's like, I just left it on to listen to you guys. It's like, okay, well now I need to to censor myself.
Nicole told me she listens to it every once in a while, and I remember going through and taking out all the MIL stuff that I had said in that one episode. I was like, after she said that, well, I took it out before because she had said it previously. I was like, oh yeah, I probably shouldn't leave that in there.
Yeah. Oh gosh. All right, that's my pick. It was long-winded. No one listening cares about the Slingers, so I appreciate you listening if you're still around.
If you made it past that hill.
Take a second to go to our show notes and sign my petition to bring the Slingers back to the Marvel universe. I'm just kidding. There's no petition yet.
I appreciate how passionate you are about that.
I love obscure characters, and everybody has a thing. Some people love Batman. Some people love Spider-Man. I like Spider-Man a lot. I would say I love Spider-Man, but I really love just obscure characters, man, that nobody cares about.
I like when Pete is put in situations where he has to change it up. Or it's just like during his time as like not big time Spider-Man. I didn't love those costumes, but those were kind of neat. But then when he's got like Parker Industries and he's got that Mark V,
that one was cool.
Or whatever it was cool to see him like on top of his game. But
only to get knocked back down.
Yeah, but I love when he's got these moments of, well, okay, I'm going to do this instead. Or just different takes.
He's like, oh yeah, I'm a genius.
Yeah.
I feel like he himself forgets that he is a genius. He's like so down on himself. He's like, oh yeah, I'm also a genius. I should probably stop working at this newspaper.
Yeah, I can figure it out. I could just write a paper. You know what I mean?
Yeah, all right. I always liked when he's a teacher at the school, at like maybe not high school, doesn't make sense because he has to be there all day and kids suck. But out of college, I've always thought that was cool because he can sort of build his schedule around crime.
I never understood the idea of like being on patrol. You know what I mean? Like, or just picking like, well, I'll be active from here and here, and unless like a cop, like a car chase flies through the campus. This is what
really gets me is that all of the best heroes in the Marvel Universe live in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
I get it that it's a really populated area, but it's not that big, right?
Yeah.
It would be different if they were all in Texas because they would have to drive everywhere. One,
Yeah.
everything's so spread out, or fly. Spider-Man would have to get a spider car and drive everywhere.
He couldn't do that here. Yeah.
But in New York, I don't feel the need for everyone to be on patrol when the Avengers have the Sears Tower. They can see everything.
Now, they've set times. Like, they're like, I'm going to work from here to here.
Yeah.
And then if there's
they get paid.
a Skrull invasion, I'll be active from here to here.
Yeah. Yeah, they have a schedule and they get paid and they have insurance.
You imagine the premiums on that insurance? Jeez.
Sell out. I feel like Tony just pays for everything and they're just mooching off of him.
Probably.
They don't even want to be Avengers. They're just like, what am I going to do?
Yeah. In this economy?
Oh, man. All right. That's enough of me rambling about Slingers. Sam, your first pick. What's up?
I think I brought it up recently about just a property I really, really loved. And it's not necessarily a comic book, but I mean, it's like, we're all in the same fam.
Yeah.
But
it's nerd comic book adjacent, I would say.
Yeah.
It could be a great comic book.
I think it's definitely influenced by so many different things. But yeah, my pick would be SWAT Kats. I absolutely loved that show when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I loved the animation. The airplane was cool as shit because it was like a vertical takeoff and lift, a VTOL for all you folks that don't know. They had like the motorcycle and they were just mechanics. Like that was their whole deal.
Yeah.
There was nothing overly fancy about the characters themselves. They were just two cats, skinny and a bulky one that knew how to fly a jet. And they fought like Doctor Doom, Darth Vader mixed cat.
Yeah.
Which is really strange, like the setup there, because they're just mechanics, and then there's the supernatural element brought in.
Yeah, and they saved the world, man. And there were no other heroes except for the police.
Mm-mm. Yeah, and the police didn't like him because they were vigilantes flying around in a fighter jet. It makes sense.
Where did they get the jet from?
They built it. They built everything. That's the thing.
What a wild show. We did talk about this before, and I originally said it wasn't my favorite show. I watched every episode. I with you. I absolutely loved the animation style. I think I just couldn't get past them always being in the plane, and I know that was the whole thing.
Yeah.
I just wanted them to I wanted to see the cat, and they did. They fought on ground. They had the glove that shot little rockets out of the knuckles.
Yeah.
And they had the motorcycle. They were cool moments. But I think, I don't know. I wasn't that introspective as a kid. Maybe I was without realizing it. But I'm with you on the sort of supernatural element. And then it was like a futuristic city, sort of. But these guys just lived at this junkyard / mechanic shop where they had this high-tech airplane. It was cool. I want to rewatch it. I don't know if it's streaming on anything.
I don't know if it's streaming. You can buy the set, $34 for a 5-disc set. It's a Hanna.
How many episodes was that show?
I don't know. It's I don't know. It's a Hanna-Barbera cartoon though, so you would think it would be on HBO Max, but they're probably like trying to save on taxes or something.
Yeah. That's a property that, we talk about it, and maybe not on air, but that's one of those properties that in an age where they're revamping everything and using the nostalgia card so much that you would assume that they would do something with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Same with Street Sharks. I think Street Sharks is a different situation because the company that owns them, they just sit on all those properties.
Well, and I don't know. Me personally, I think Street Sharks is overrated.
I just like the one with the rollerblades. It was the coolest one to me.
That's definitely like 90s AF.
Yeah.
Well, did he have rollerblades? He was the brown one, right? Did he have rollerblades and he was like a football quarterback?
There was the orange one was the football player.
Yeah, okay.
The blue one, the leader, he wore jeans and boots.
Right. Which
the one with the rollerblades, the one with the rollerblades was light blue and had pink stripes, and he wore rollerblades all the time.
Okay.
And then there was a brown one that was like a hammerhead shark.
Yeah. I remember the hammerhead now.
Yeah.
Speaking
the Ninja Turtles, the craze of the Ninja Turtles created all of these shows.
Yeah. The anthropomorphic. I feel like that's I don't know. I guess it's kind of like that with SWAT Kats, but to me, they were just a little bit different. It was like a whole bunch. It was bigger than the sum of its parts, but it's like it's got a little Batman in there. It's got a little bit of Mario Brothers in there. It's got a little bit of I mean, it's.
I agree. It's way different. With Street Sharks, they were straight up 4 brothers that got mutated into shark. It was pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
SWAT Kats, I agree with you. It definitely felt like its own thing, riding on the popularity of anthropomorphic. But I feel like that has been a trend forever. It still is.
Yeah. I mean, I do feel like a lot of that started with the Turtles. Because, I mean, one thing I really have wanted to get, but I haven't yet, are those Biker Mice from Mars figures. They look so slick.
Yeah.
But
they do. I never watched that show.
I don't think I've seen an episode.
I don't know what it was broadcasted on, but I've never seen an episode. Back in the day, there were certain shows that only played on weird channels.
Yeah,
and I had basic cable,
like UPN,
most of my poor life. So,
yeah,
if it didn't show on Rabbit Ears, I didn't watch it.
Well, is that basic cable? I had I didn't even have a coax.
For me, it was
I was like, I had 3.
For me, it was basic.
3, 6, 9, and 13, buddy.
Yeah, for me, it was basic. At least that's what my parents told me.
Yeah, we had. Well, anyway, Biker Mice. I also haven't seen it, and I had all the figures because of the toys were cool, but I didn't know anything about the characters. I was like, oh, whatever.
Same. For the sake of, I had another comment on this topic, but for the sake of,
say it.
Keep it moving. I'll save it for honorable mentions because I feel like it's like a branch that could go.
Okay, all right. Write it down so you don't forget. Type it in there.
I got it. I'm excited to talk about it. So SWAT Kats, great pick. I agree 100%.
SWAT Kats.
I would love to see that in some sort of comic form. I think there was a game. Did you ever play the game?
I didn't play the game. I do think that there was some kind of comic at the time. It may have been in. Sorry, just
Disney Adventures.
Let's not make any sound for a second. I can get right where I was. Yeah, no, it wasn't Disney Adventure. I don't know what it was. I did think that initially, though.
I used to love those Disney Adventure magazines.
Yeah. I don't know what it was, but I do remember there being some sort of comic. You know what? It might have been that webtoon thing that you sent me. Were they in that?
Maybe.
I don't know. Whatever. Doesn't matter.
All right.
Dead air.
With that being said, it's my second pick. And I switched it up at the last minute because I just think this show hangs the moon. I don't think there has been X-Men 97 is good. It's, I would say, the perfect show, honestly. I mean, I don't use that word a lot, but for me, it's firing on all cylinders. It's something that you said, and this is not my pick, but it's something that you said. That show is what everyone thinks the old show is. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I get it. That's how I feel. But this show is the best comic book animated series I've ever seen, excluding all the Ninja Turtle properties, because I'm biased with those. But Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes was the absolute best show. Enjoyable from start to finish. They had so much story left to tell, but because of corporate synergy, they revamped it to Avengers. I don't even know what it was called. Something else. Avengers. Who cares? And they changed the animation style to make it look more like the movies, and they changed like the roster, and they dumbed down the storylines, and they made it like sort of monster of the week or 2-episode story arcs, and it was just the absolute worst. But Avengers Earth Mighty's Heroes, I thought it was a perfect show. I loved the art style. I loved the characterization of all the heroes. And recently, the design, the storyboard artist and the character designers, they had made all these mock images of stories that they wanted to tell. And I think that's what really cemented it in my head that I needed to have the show back. There was an image of the Avengers with Rom. Like, I know that wouldn't have happened, but that would have been cool. They had them fight Galactus, which I think they did in the show. They had them fighting with Crystar. I think that's his name. That like Crystal dude.
Yeah.
They just made a Marvel Legend of him.
Yeah. He looks like a He-Man character.
Yeah. Have you ever watched Avengers Earth Mighty's Heroes?
I watched a little bit of it. I think the first couple of episodes, and I did like that it reminded me a lot of like Batman Brave and the Bold, where they're not so focused on the characters that you see all the time. Like they might bring in like a villain that you never see, or, you know, like I don't know if he was in here, but I'm just thinking of this character. Like, so Earth's Mightiest Heroes, you might see Arnim Zola or something, like a character that doesn't make a lot of sense outside of comics. Very Kirby-esque villain.
Yeah.
But
and maybe that's why I liked it, because the show was very Kirby-esque. And it took these, and it's part of the reason why I like Brave and the Bold. Brave and the Bold was a little bit more self-contained, episodic. This had these story arcs that lasted the season, but it took these comic book storylines, some popular, some that people may not be so familiar with, and simplified them for a younger audience without dumbing it down, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like they still had sort of the emotional gravity without making it like too silly or too simple, because, you know, studio execs think kids are stupid. You know, they have to have these 15-minute shorts where there's hyperactivity all through it. I just think it's the perfect show, man. If you get a chance to watch it, I think you'll agree. And this is me talking to the audience and obviously Simon. But it's on Disney Plus, I think.
Yeah.
I'm due for a rewatch. It's really, really good. I think they handle Secret Invasion so well that it will put the live action one to shame. I think anything will, honestly. I think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. probably could do Secret Invasion better than the MCU did it. And I'm not even one of those, I hate the MCU guys. I just think that show was just random.
Yeah. There were parts just on a tangent, there were parts of that show that I enjoyed, but like Amelia Clark's part, I was like, you know?
Why?
Yeah.
And where is she going? In what context will she come back, and why?
Yeah, the CGI. Well, and it was like, we're thinking about characters that we've already seen. So it was like, why Drax's arm? You know, that doesn't make sense.
That's so random, man. Such a random show. We need to do a breakdown of that, of like why it's so bad.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be one of those YouTube guys that
I think
this is why the MCU sucks.
No, and I don't think that it's about that, because me and you aren't about that. We're like, this is why Make This Make Sense would be a good name for the show.
Make this make sense.
Yeah, like
writing that down.
Make this make sense. Why would you pick Drax's arm? I don't know. It reminds me a lot of like Combo Man. It's like, why is the 2-inch sliver of the Hulk? Why does that make sense? Why would you have a 2-inch sliver of the Punisher?
The greatest hero of all time.
I'm like,
Combo Man.
A 2-inch sliver of the Punisher. What does that do for you? He's just a guy. There's nothing special about the Punisher.
It has the grief of his family being murdered fuels.
That actually is
the anger of Combo Man.
That's a perfect explanation. Even though I still think it's bullshit, but Make This Make Sense. That makes sense.
I like it. And this is Simon and I always like randomly talking shop with ideas that we have. And that could be it. Like, you are the straight man and I am the ridiculous person as usual.
Well, no, I
I don't know. I think I'm the straight man on this show.
I don't think that. I've recently realized you said something to me, and I was like, "Damn, I do just say weird shit that comes to my brain all the time." And I said something at
I
work,
love it.
and I was like, "Oh, damn! Like I don't even. I thought I had a filter, and I do not. I just say
I love
weird
it, man.
stuff."
That's one of the things I love about you. I think my closest friends are all like that.
Yeah, that's true. We all do say weird shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. That's Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Again, if you haven't seen it, I strongly suggest you check out at least one of the story arcs. They did this great lead up to it. Before the show first came out, they did these mini episodes that focused on each one of the characters that would be Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just think cool things like that, they don't really do anymore. It's all about the quick hits. And, you brought up Brave and the Bold, and that would be my pick, but I think that ended perfectly. In my opinion, would I like more of it? Of course, but I feel like that was one of the ones that ended the right way.
I don't know if I've ever seen the end of that. Brave and the Bold is just a random show that comes on that would just come on every once in a while. I'm like, yeah, I'll watch this.
It's so good. The ending's good, and we'll talk about it later. Before I break it all down. Earth's Mightiest Heroes. That's my pick. Sam, what do you got?
What do I got? Let me check. I already forgot. See, this is why I write them down, because I'll forget. Oh, okay. Yeah, so this was a pretty big a pretty big property for anyone that grew up. I guess it started coming out, I guess, late 90s, early 2000s, I think. I could have my timeline wrong. But it was one of those things that, it was this toy property that was kind of breaking out. It was breaking out of like kids' toys and kind of making more action figure-esque things. And one thing that really drew me to this was the fact that you signed up for the Lego Club magazine, which I did. Yeah, it was like elementary school. Anyway, I found a magazine under kids' desk, and I just like stole it and then cut out the thing and like signed up for the Lego Club. And once they started putting out Bionicle, they just sent, along with the magazine, they sent a DC published comic book of Bionicle, which was rad, and it looked like the art was like really clean. So anyway, I was more into the comic book than I ever was in action figures, though I had several of them.
Damn, DC did put that out. This is a total blank spot for me. That's crazy.
Yeah, they look good. I never remember actually seeing them on the stands anywhere. So I don't know if it was exclusive, but I only had 6 issues, which introduced the main characters, but it went farther than that. I don't know how long. Anyway.
Yeah, it went pretty far. 27 issues.
So anyway, mine is Bionicle. As I said, I cut this out, but I just had like a crazy ass Charlie horse in my legs. So I got kind of distracted. But anyway, Bionicle was one of those things. I feel like it had a really deep lore, and so much so that I've kind of gotten consumed in some YouTube, like I'll throw it on in the background, lore videos about Bionicle, because it kind of died out. I think the original creator left, the one that created like the idea behind them, left Lego after a while, and then it was just like, here's this other monster thing, and here's this other monster thing. But anyway, I was really into them, and like I said, the comics were really cool. I really enjoyed those.
Damn, makes me want to check those out. That's crazy. I never knew that. But yeah, it was published by DC. What a wild time. And there was a show or something. I remember there being
there was a CGI show. And they had a lot of like straight to DVD movies. So that's probably what you're thinking of. They would kind of like advertise them on Cartoon Network. And
that's what it was. I probably saw it on Cartoon Network, and there was a game. I remember having the Bionicle game, maybe on GameCube. I could be making that up. I had some weird games on GameCube.
Yeah, they had 2. They had like one for PC that got canceled, and people like hacked it now to where you could play it. And then I think they did have one, and they had one for Game Boy Advance too.
Oh,
But yeah,
maybe I'll download that now on my phone.
it's not good.
Mm-mm-mm.
It's not good. It's not a good game. Uh,
Oh my gosh, that's a good pick, man. I wouldn't. Yeah, I was looking at it while you were dying from leg pain, and I didn't realize that they had brought it back in 2016 on Netflix for a like web, not web series, but a series of episodes. I'll have to check that out.
I didn't know that either, so that is cool. I don't know.
And I don't think they had I think they tried to like make them more modern, like Michael Bay Transformers. So they don't. I really like the old aesthetic of how they look.
I
Kind of bare bones.
mostly did, and I feel like the comic books really did the best way of illustrating that, because when you look at it, you're like, oh, that's just a Lego gear. But
I remember. I also remember McDonald's had like Bionicle Happy Meals, and that was the first time I had a Bionicle figure.
yeah, they had the little
And
guys.
then I got a real one.
Yeah,
Did you have any of the Bionicles?
yeah. Well, I had all of them. It took me a while to decide. Like, I was the same way I was as a kid, I am now.
Uh-huh.
So it took me a while to decide that I wanted them and which ones I wanted. And then I'm like, well, I have a little money. I guess I'll buy the one that I didn't want.
I got to get all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to get all of them.
So
Yeah, that's great.
I had all of them.
That's a good pick, man.
And then,
Deep cut.
yeah, and then McDonald's, you had like your little tribesmen characters, like the little ones in different masks and shit. Yeah, they were cool. Did you hear about
This
that?
is deep. This is deep lore stuff, man. I'm looking at all the comics. Not only did they have the 27 issue run for the original Bionicle that ran all the way until we graduated high school, but they also had another one called Ignition that came out in 2006. They also had another series that came out in 2009, and they had graphic novels that came out in 2010.
Wow. Yeah, well,
Jeez.
the toys went for a while. They, like you said, they kind of made them more action figure-y and yeah,
because it was like Lego
Technic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Way cool. Very cool.
They were neat. Wait, before you go on, did you hear about that? They had a rare 24 karat gold mask, like the main guy's kind of like face mask.
I remember that was like the thing. They were trying to get the mask of light or whatever.
Yeah. So one of those sold for like 18 grand or something. I don't remember what it was, but it sold at an auction for a lot of money. It was like a 24 karat plated Bionicle.
I want to meet these people that buy these collectibles. I think there was a recent Amazing Spider-Man or Amazing Fantasy 15, the first appearance of Spider-Man. I think it recently sold for millions of dollars. I want to meet the people that are just like, yeah, I'm going to do that.
Yeah, gotta have it.
It's a couple $1 million. I don't care. I need those 26 pages from the fucking 50s.
Yeah.
In my house. I need it.
It is funny.
I've been searching for this for a very long time. And I think I always will sort of just in the background look for it until I find like a one in a lifetime deal. But the first print TMNT Mirage book, the first, it was a rare book. It's really expensive. I found one recently. That's just a ridiculous price for me. It's not millions, but it's like $19,000. And in my head, I'm just like, for a second, I was like really calculating how I could pull this off. And then I had a reality check, like, there's no way that I could pull that off.
Yeah.
And my wife have any respect for me.
Well, she's like, if you get this, you can never, ever buy another comic book ever again in your life.
Yeah. Or anything. You can never buy anything ever again.
Yeah. This is a car. You're buying a car right now.
Yeah. For what? To just have it in a box, like have it in a box with the rest of my stuff. And so it's one of those things that I'm just kind of like in the background. Some old guy one day, or you work with someone, they're like, hey, my grandpa had all these old comic books. You want to check them out? and that's how I get it.
like a shed find, or like an old person shed find.
Yeah.
It's like our
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew this guy in college, but his name was Daniel. He drove a 92 Chrysler LeBaron that only had 60,000 miles on it or something. And he was like, I just bought it from this old lady for $2,000. And it was like brand new.
Wow.
It's
wild,
insane. And Lex and I went to college in the 2006 to 2010 era. Like that was our culture. So
good old days. So moving on to honorable mentions. I don't know if you have any, but I will kick things off. This is going to be rapid fire. We'll try to keep the rapid fire for us is like a whole separate podcast. We'll try to keep it contained. So first off, I'm going to go with the Mighty Ducks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love that show. I don't even like hockey, so there's no association with the actual Mighty Ducks. I did like the movies. There was no connection though, but I loved that show so much. And I had this friend in my neighborhood that had every single action figure, and he was only my friend because I could go over there and play with those toys.
I had a Super Nintendo friend. I know what you mean.
Yeah, that's like I have to. My parents are not going to buy me all of these figures. I already beg and plead for every Ninja Turtle that comes out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to buy this whole property that is only going to exist for a year. So I don't know if you watched Mighty Ducks.
I never watched it because I think it came on it was on Channel 7, and it was like, I feel like it came on early morning. I didn't do the Disney afternoon or Disney morning stuff. I was all on Fox, but I do know what you're talking about. And I always thought they looked really cool. Like I liked their armor and like how they kind of transformed, and they had that jet that looked like I think they had a jet that looked like a duck, or am I thinking Darkwing?
Yeah. All of their vehicles had duck faces. Like their spaceship, their motorcycles all had like the duck hockey mask.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's weird that you say that because I don't remember having the Disney Channel. I think that was like a paid thing when we were younger.
Right. Yeah. ABC was Channel 7. So that's what
ABC played the Disney shows.
Right. So.
Yeah. Because I was thinking, like, how did I watch Goof Troop and Darkwing Duck? Because those played right before I had to go to school.
Yeah.
I remember watching both of those almost every day.
That's the Disney afternoon block, or morning in that case.
Yeah.
That would be my honorable mention would be Darkwing Duck. I absolutely love Darkwing Duck. And I know they kind of brought him back in the new DuckTales, which I really would like to watch because it looks funny. But there was like a certain time, and it only worked for me in that time. Like I can't imagine trying to watch a Darkwing Duck show now unless they.
I think you would. The way they handle it. First of all, I'm going to talk about DuckTales for a very short second. That show is so good.
Well, I know. I've watched several episodes and I'm like, this is hilarious. Like, I love this.
Yeah.
But then
that show is so good because it like pulls from all the old nostalgia, but also is like sort of meta with it where it kind of makes fun of itself.
Mm-hmm.
And it pulls in the Darkwing Duck stuff and how like Launchpad works for both of them randomly. And the way they do the Darkwing Duck series it was like a series inside DuckTales, I think you would really, really like.
Yeah. Because
it's not the same character, but they reference that character and he's in it.
Yeah.
So it's really good.
So basically Lex and I like ducks, much like Disney.
Yeah. Birds and ducks.
Yeah, just fowls in general.
I don't get it. And aside one more, I think they should bring back MC2. We talked about it recently on a show.
Yeah.
But I loved everything about that universe. We talk about it was a separate thing. If you don't know what MC2 is, back in the late 90s, early 2000s, they did sort of this what if the Marvel universe aged up, right? If it continued to age in real time. And so they had children of the heroes that we knew and love. And I just think it worked so well. Spider-Girl was sort of the flagship character for that. And I loved all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it was not like 90s, early 2000s good. But if you applied sort of the top tier sort of creative talent in the big two pool, I think it would be really, really, really good.
I think so too. I mean, like all the characters are there, and I feel like they were stronger than like the 2099 stuff as far as like alternate aging up, like, you know.
Yeah.
I definitely did like that. And I like how they bring in May and like Spider-Verse. It's kind of cool. It's kind of sad.
Yeah.
But it's cool.
Very sad. Very sad. So yeah, bring back MC2, bring back Slingers, bring back Bionicle, just bring back all this stuff, and we'll stop making episodes like this.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure people would buy it. I mean, people like us that just want the world to not be shitty and remember a time when it wasn't. Or not that it wasn't shitty then, but we weren't fucking thinking about it because we were playing with Bionicles.
We were definitely out of touch. Let's talk about some fan submissions real quick, and these will be rapid fire. Ray Manta 82 said, "Bring back Planetary." I'm a huge fan of Planetary.
Yeah,
I know you enjoyed it. I would like to. I think Planetary was good on how it is and ended, but the way Ray is explaining it is he wants an anthology focusing on different field offices, and then handled by a different creative team with each office, which I think would be really, really cool.
That would be cool. Great idea.
That is a great idea. Red Dead J said, "Bring back Swamp Thing." It was a good show, and I liked it. I never watched the DC Swamp Thing.
It's good.
The newer one.
It is good.
I heard it was good. I need to go and watch it. I do like Swamp Thing. When I was a kid, I liked the old Swamp Thing show that came on Sci-Fi.
Yeah.
And that was not good.
No. It is surprising. Like, it has that, like, True Blood feeling to it. You know what I mean? Like, don't try to make the Bayou sexy, man. It's fucking white trash.
I like True Blood. So
no, I know, but you know what I'm saying. It's like, y'all chill out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was a very interesting show, and I feel like it was fairly faithful to what you imagine. Like, Swamp Thing is a horror property, you know, more so than just a regular comic book. So
it's just a big pile of spinach. He looks gross.
But he smells terrible.
My buddy here in Austin, Chongo ATX, said that he would like to see the Luke Cage series called Luke Cage City on Fire. It was a series that was supposed to come out last year. It was completely done and all ready to go, and they canceled it a month before it released. I don't know.
Is it?
I don't know
Netflix?
why. I don't remember why. No, it was a comic book.
Oh, okay. Weird.
BTC Rich said Malibu Comics. Do you remember Malibu Comics with Prime and Hardcase and Prototype?
No.
It had an animated series that came on USA, I think.
Which had an animated series? All of them?
Malibu Comics had a team called Ultra Force.
Oh.
Ultra Force had an animated series.
Yeah. I remember that.
Malibu Comics was purchased or owned by Marvel, and Marvel put it on the shelf because in that deal was baked in that the creators of all these characters would get like royalties. And so Marvel's like, we don't do that.
Yeah.
So
no.
we're just not going to use these characters ever again.
Wow.
Silly Marvel. Lots of great. I mean, this list is long. I think over 150 people responded to it. This one's cool. Robert's RPG Lover. That's
you like
that's
rocket. You like rocket propelled grenades, man. That's weird.
Oh, hold on. This is probably one of the best usernames I've seen in a long time. Because it's RPG Lover, which he likes role playing games, right?
Mm-hmm.
But his name is Robert P. Glover.
Great.
So it's RP Glover. That's amazing. I hope he likes RPGs. If not, it's even funnier.
Well, I want him to know that I like children, so I'll be a little kid lover.
Yeah. What is that from?
The Office.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. He said, imagine artists clamoring to do pinup covers for a book called The Shogun Warriors, which was really big in the 80s for Marvel. It was about these giant mechs, and I wish that they would bring it back in some capacity. It's so good.
I kind of remember.
Kraken Captain. Kraken Captain said, bring back Pitt. I don't know much about Pitt.
I don't either.
It was like early extreme 90s image. I remember probably picking up some of it, but it's too edgy for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wacky, not edgy. I like silly, zany stuff, not edgy, kids love chains stuff.
If your title looks like smeared and splattered blood, I'm probably not gonna pick it up.
Yeah, no thanks. There's so many good. I will link this thread in the show notes because there are just so many good suggestions. I could be here all day. We could have just did this on the episode. And so definitely check that out. Every week before we do the episode, I put out sort of the topic. And if you comment on there, it probably will talk about it on the show.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out for that. And let's wrap this thing up, man. We're circling the drain. This has been a fun talk.
It has been good. Let's also bring back Liquid Television. Bring back Chud. You know,
What the hell? I don't know what either one of those.
Chud was a comic book. It was like those little robots,
Chud.
The robots that you get out of the vending machine.
Chud.
There was a black one and a yellow one. I think it was
Chud. Wow.
Liquid Television was the MTV. Like it had Aeon Flux and the Max and a couple of other.
And that big head guy with the aliens come out of his head.
Yeah. All that weird shit. Yeah. Bring it all back.
Was the Tick on that?
Tick was on Fox. It was a Fox Kids show.
Such a good, silly show.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's so stupid great. I love it.
Wow, we got to do an episode on Liquid Television because now I'm looking at it, and the Max was on Liquid Television. Aeon Flux. That show put me to sleep every time I watched it when I was younger.
Yeah, Aeon Flux is just weird, but I remember being like, "Ooh, she's not wearing a lot of clothes," just because she wasn't wearing a lot of clothes, and then now I'm like, "Ugh." Just like weird bony.
The head. Don't know what that show was about. I just remember that guy had a giant head and there was an alien in it. Good times, man. Good times.
Yeah.
Bring back Liquid Television. We're circling the drain. Simon, where can the people find you?
Well, as always, you can find me at Sim_on_toast on Instagram and TikTok while it still exists.
R.I.P.
Yeah. Look for Lex at Wednesday Pool everywhere, right?
Everywhere. Everywhere that exists.
And while y'all are looking around, make sure to rate and review the show. Helps us out. I guess. I don't know.
It really does.
Everybody says that, but I'm sure it helps us get to more ears. So that would always help us out.
I think it really just helps our ego because I like seeing stuff like that.
I do like.
Really, I think that's what they mean.
I do like seeing that. Oh, they have great rapport. I'm like, yeah, we do. We BFFs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, we have a Patreon if you want to see the live show because we like stream it live, right? For Patreon members.
Yep.
So
every week, and there's a lot. There's just like it ends up being like a almost 2-hour show on Patreon, and our episodes typically are only about an hour. So if you want all the. Like last week, there was my kid got sick, and there was like a 15-minute window where if you look at the video, what's it called? The image that's up when you're scrolling,
the thumbnail.
The thumbnail, yeah, it's just 2 empty seats. Like both of our seats are faced the other way. Oh my god!
And today you could have seen me scream as my leg muscle tightened up and I had to stand up and straighten that bitch out. It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Old.
Yeah. You can also go back and rewatch all of these because they're on our Patreon feed. So definitely check that out if you want to support the show. Let us know if you guys want us to talk about any crazy topics. We'll definitely take you up on that. So we will see you next week.
Bye.